David Rubadiri's poem, An African Thunderstorm, paints a vivid picture of a powerful storm sweeping through an African village. Published in the 1960s, around the time of Malawi's independence, the poem can be read as both a literal description of a storm and an allegory for the devastation of colonialism and the upheavals it unleashed on Africa. The storm represents the violent force of colonialism, a chaotic, destructive power that disrupts and destabilizes African life. The storm's approach is fierce, sweeping in from the west, a phrase that echoes the influence of Western colonial powers in Africa. The storm moves with relentless, senseless force, scattering objects in its path like an insane person running after nothing. This comparison suggests chaos and irrationality, hinting at the absurdity and unpredictability of colonial violence. The clouds, described as pregnant and stately, suggest that the storm carries an ominous weight, a destructive force ready to be unleashed. Their dark wings seem like an evil presence hovering over the hills, reinforcing a sense of impending doom as the storm moves closer. As the storm draws nearer, the villagers' responses highlight the tension and fear it generates. Children scream in excitement, yet the adults respond with urgency, moving frantically to prepare. Women rush in and out of homes, clinging to their children as they brace for their storm's impact. Their fear mirrors the instability and anxiety colonial forces brought to African societies, where sudden upheavals forced people to adapt to swift and often violent changes. The storm's power intensifies as it tears away at the village, ripping women's clothes and leaving them exposed. This image of the storm stripping away garments carries symbolic weight. It represents how colonialism violated African culture, tearing away layers of identity, autonomy, and dignity. By comparing the torn clothing to tattered flags, Rubadiri suggests that colonialism is not only a violation but also a political takeover, leaving people exposed and vulnerable. The flags evokes the idea of conquest, aligning the storm with war and domination and reinforcing the sense that colonialism disrupts the social and cultural fabric of African communities. Rubadiri's comparisons to biblical imagery, such as plague of locusts and dark clouds like the angel of death, link the storm to divine retribution and disaster, conjuring a sense of apocalyptic change. This biblical language heightens the storm's symbolism, suggesting that the colonial forces sweeping across Africa were not only destructive but were experienced by Africans as traumatic events that overturned their established world. In the storm's violent progress, the poem reflects the cultural and social devastation colonialism inflicted on Africa. The storm's march toward the village mirrors the military invasions and forced changes that upended life in colonized societies. The chaotic, frenzied movement of the wind, compared to a madman chasing nothing, hints at the irrationality of colonial ambitions as they inflicted harm without true purpose or reason. The poem evokes the profound disturbances of colonialism, capturing both the literal chaos of a storm and the symbolic chaos of foreign domination. Rubadiri's use of vivid imagery and symbolic language underscores how deeply colonialism disrupted African life, portraying it as a relentless force that strips away cultural identity, breeds fear, and leaves behind a legacy of upheaval.